Welcome back to the channel, guys. So today we're going to make a color that's always kind of intrigued me, but I've never actually made it. That color is called Wakasagi. Now it comes from a Japanese pond smelt. This is what the fish looks like. It's a very slender profile bait fish. I guess they've tried to introduce it here in the United States to help rainbow trout lakes and reservoirs. They haven't had a whole lot of success, but either way, it's a color that's really intrigued me. I've never made it. I've kind of looked around a little bit on YouTube and some of the Facebook pages. I don't see any recipes anywhere, so we're just going to kind of wing it, go into this blind, and see what we can come up with. So let's get over here and get started. All right, so I think I'm going to start with the belly color. I'm going to go with a little bit of this silver. Let's go with like 10 or 12 drops. There's 12 drops there. I don't want to get it too thick because we are going to add some highlight powder to it, but I do definitely want that silverish look. And for that highlight powder, we're just going to go with violet highlight. We're going to put a 1/16 of a teaspoon in that, because sometimes that powder will kind of help lighten that silver color, make it a little more like of a white color. So let's see where that gets us. And who knows, maybe I've already overdone it with silver and we'll have to try it again, but that's why we're here, to try it out, see how it works. So I'll get all that highlight powder stirred in here in a second. And for our top color, so I want to start with Olive from MF as kind of a base. So there we've got 20 drops of olive in there. I am gonna darken the olive a little bit, but I feel like that shade is kind of on the right track of what that little fish looks like. Now to darken it, what I think I'm going to try some of this mint brown, because there is a little bit of green like hues coming out in that picture. So I'm just going to go with, I don't know, roughly 10 drops of that. And I want to see how much it darkens it and if you can see any of that green. If we don't get much of the green, I might add some green highlight, but I want to just see where we're at with that. So you can see there on the stir, you can kind of see that green coming through, but it's still just primarily that brown color in the cup. So let's see. And then what I think I want to do, most of the time when I see this color, it doesn't have flake, but I want to add some of this small black flake to the top. And I'm going to add just a 1/16 of a teaspoon, because in that picture you can see the scaling on the top of that little bait fish is pretty pronounced. So I want to add just a little bit of small black flake just to kind of help look like some of the scales across the back. We'll see how it looks, but I think that's all we're going to do for this first run, and then we'll make any adjustments from there if we need to. These are cooled off. We're going to see how they turned out. Alright, so there's our belly color. Alright, so I think we're on the right track. I don't know if the mint brown is the right color that I should. I don't know. They look pretty close. We'll get over here in some better lighting and we'll see what we think. Here's a little bit better of a look. So you can see down here where the bait's a little bit thinner, you can see some of that green coming through. I'm not sure if mint brown was the best choice for that. I think overall it's pretty close. But I just don't know how I feel about that top color. I might shoot it in a smaller, a little bit thinner bait and see how that looks, because I feel like we're kind of on the right track color-wise. But I don't know, maybe either this bait might be a little bit thick for that color, or I just made the color too thick. One of the two. But let me know what you guys think. Alright guys, so I didn't like that color all that much. So I came in here, I wanted to see, yes, I know I have a problem. I wanted to see what color I could add to that olive to kind of get more of like along the lines of what I wanted. And then it dawned on me, we might not need to add anything. We already have olive oil. This might actually be a better base color to start with. So I want to make another run with this, compare the two, and see which one I like better. So let's get over here and see how this looks. All right, so before I get started, I wanted to kind of just review one more time. So I'm going to use a completely different top color, but then on this bottom color, I think I'm going to use a little bit less of the silver. I haven't used that color in forever, so I just assumed the MF color would be a little less potent than that. So I'm going to use a little less silver, maybe a touch more violet highlight in the belly, and then a completely new top color altogether. I think I want to stick with the same amount of black flake on the top. That kind of brings out that scale pattern in there a little bit. So I think that's what we're going to do. There's nothing wrong with this color. Like, I'll still use it, and I have faith that it'll catch fish, but I think we can do better. I'm going to start with the belly again, go back to the violet highlight, but instead of a 16th, I'm going to add an 1/8 of a teaspoon of that. And then for our silver from MF, I think I'm just going to add like 2 drops and see where that gets us. I do want the silver to be there. I don't want it to be just a completely white or see-through belly color, but I feel like it just in general, I made that first color way too thick all the way around, the top color and the bottom color. I think I completely missed the mark altogether with that top color. I don't know why I felt like that standard olive was where I needed to start, but I feel like maybe going to just this olive oil would have been a lot better. That's the problem, guys, with having way too many colors. You kind of forget what you do and don't have, and sometimes you just pick the wrong one. So either way, we'll get all that stirred in here in a minute. Now we're going to get, hopefully, the right color for this one. And I'm going to start with, let's go like 25 drops and see where that gets us. There's our 25 drops. Oh yeah. Already I can tell this is going to be a much better color to start with. I'm glad that I remembered that color. I guess I shouldn't say I remembered it. I just happened to see it sitting on the shelf. Oh yeah, I think that is going to be much better. Now the only question I have is if I want to add any green highlight. I don't know. I think I just want to leave it. I think let's get the black flake in there. I'm going to do the same thing as last time. Just go with a 1/16 of a teaspoon. It's just enough to be there. Like I said in that picture, the scaling on that fish was very pronounced. So I feel like this small black flake in the top just kind of helps give that scale effect. But I think that looks pretty good. I think I've got enough plastic here. What I may do is, I think I'm just going to go ahead and make the first run like this. And then if I have enough left over, I'll remelt it down, add just a smidge of green highlight, and inject that, and then we can compare which one we like better. All right, yeah, I don't want to add anything else. I want to keep it like this. We got to get our plastic warm back up, get the mold back out, and we'll see if we did any better. All right, we're bringing this one straight to the better light. So already I like the saturation level of that belly better. And yep, I think that was definitely the right move for that top color. So you can see we still get that olivey look, but it is a little bit darker like what we were wanting. And then I think that belly with less of the silver just looks a little bit better in general. I think that one is much better than our first attempt. And I do have plenty of leftovers, so I am remelting that back down right now. I'll add just a smidge of green highlight, and then we'll compare this one with that one. So here's a look at the progression of these baits. So this first one, I just completely missed the mark altogether. Oversaturated it, used the wrong colors, just wasn't a good combination. This is the second one with just that straight olive oil on the top, and then the violet highlight on the belly with just a couple drops of silver. And then this one is the same thing as the second one, but with a 1/32 teaspoon of green highlight. While I feel like the green highlight kind of does look a lot like the actual bait fish, I like the second run without the green highlight a little bit better. That color is a relatively see-through bait, so you can see that green highlight was just a little bit too much in my opinion. It still looks great, and I think they're both really, really good matches. But my favorite is definitely that second one. And some people might want the first one if they're fishing like really dirty and stained water. They might want a little bit more of an opaque bait. It's all just personal preference. But there's a good look at all three of those. Let me know which one was your favorite. And there you have it, guys. That is my first attempt at making that Wakasagi color. It's a kind of a tricky color, and depending on which picture you're looking at, it can vary quite a bit. Let me know how you guys make it. I'm sure some of you have made it out there and got this color dialed in. I like, out of the 3 runs that I did today, that second one the best without the green highlight on the top. I think the green highlight would still be okay, but maybe I used 1/32 thinking that that would be a small enough amount, but it did kind of overpower a little more, so maybe a 16 or a 64th. But I think that second one is kind of what I was going for. Let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you liked this video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you on the next one.